Welcome to the What's Your Ceiling podcast. We're your hosts, Monte Wyatt and Paul Szynski. Wherever you are in life, there is a higher ceiling. This podcast is how you become aware of it and how to take action to push through it. It's time to discover your ceiling. Before we get into this month's episode, here's a short message from Adding Zero's Executive Development. As CEO, you demand performance and results from your team. If you're committed to developing a cohesive, driven organization that achieves successful outcomes every single month, we need to talk. It's time to see how organizational and executive development from Adding Zeros can help. We focus on strategic planning, executive coaching, team alignment and engagement, organizational culture, and clarity of implementation. Contact Monte Wyatt by booking an appointment at www.addZerosNow.com. That's ADDZEROSNOW.com, AddZerosNow.com. If you're ready, now is the time. I have a few coaching spots available for 2025. Lock in your team today. Now let's begin today's episode. Welcome to the What's Your Ceiling podcast, where we talk about your health, your family, your business. I'm Monte Wyatt.
I'm Paul Szynski.
And we have a great show planned for us today. We've got a gentleman who's been in the staffing industry for almost 22 years. He's gone from director of divisions to president and CEO of the Palmer Group. And we've got with us today Dave Leto. And again, he's with the Palmer Group. And Palmer Group does a number of things. They provide fractional services. They provide direct-to-hire placement, contract and temporary staffing, and a number of other things to help analyze different right person for the right seat. And so looking forward to a great conversation. And always like to start with a little theme for the show.
Sure.
And our theme is right people, right seats. So, Paul, when you hear me say right people, right seats, what come to mind to you?
Effectiveness. You got to have the right people in the right seats on the bus, and we talk about that a lot. As we know, there's a book out about it, and it makes that ride a lot smoother if you got those right people in the right seats. No doubt about it.
Absolutely. Dave, how about you?
You know, we've been working on EOS actually at our shop, and so that term is pretty popular in our office. And part of that is we call it a GWC, gets it, wants it, has the capacity to do it. So we look at all of our people and we measure that gets it, wants it capacity when we're looking at their roles, and they need to be fulfilled in what they're doing, and they need to be productive and happy and satisfied. And it becomes pretty evident quickly if we have somebody in the wrong seat, and we try to address that. But yeah, you're speaking our language here.
Absolutely. You know, when I think of right people, right seats, it's really understanding who the person is, what their characteristics are, what their likes are, what they have the right skill set and the right mindset. And when you talk about capacity, I think that's a great point of looking at their mind, how they think about things, what do they desire, and that's probably the hardest one to judge and find in people. So that's a great one. So I'm glad you shared that. You know, so if you would just give us a little history lesson of your career that led up to being CEO of Palmer Group, and give us a little insight on your background.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks, guys, for having me. Really appreciate it. So I'm a UNI grad, and then I moved to Chicago in 1999. So I've actually been in the staffing world for 26 years. So quite a long career in it. Chased my wife to Chicagoland and got married and answered an ad of the Chicago Tribune and got into staffing pharmacists and pharmacy technicians around the country, and had good success doing that. And our little small company got bought by a publicly traded company, and I got into leadership at the age of 25 because I was our top producer. You know how that works sometimes, and it sounded like a really good idea at 25 to take that next step and that leap. Huge challenge. I had no idea what I was walking into, but it was a incredible learning experience for me. And my wife and I had our first son in 2004, and we decided to move back to Iowa. Both our roots are in Iowa. I grew up in Des Moines and started at Palmer Group in 2004, shortly after we moved here. And then I started working for Palmer Group, recruiting back. Got out of management, back into working a desk and engineering desk, started a new division, and then my career progressed, had a lot of success doing that, and got into leadership, managing our IT division, had a lot of success growing that group for us. Became the executive vice president in 2011. So I was kind of running the operation of the company day to day, and then named president in 2017, and then added the CEO title in 2023. So that's been my progression. It's been almost 22 years at Palmer Group. It's been just a great place for me in my career, and I never would have envisioned being in this seat. Never really asked for it. It just kind of happened, and certainly blessed. And we have an incredible team of people, and a lot of them I've worked with for most of these years. It's been great.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because I love to hear the different levels and different experiences people have, because everybody's got a different journey. And so I'd love to ask a couple of questions about breaking through ceilings. When you were 25 and you were in charge of how many people at that time?
20. Managed 20 people.
Managing 20 people at 25, and I'm guessing majority of them were older than you.
Correct. Yep.
So tell us a little bit about how that evolved and how you managed that.
I worked my tail off. That's probably how I was working probably 70 or 80 hours a week there for a while, getting into that role, and it was pretty intense. So getting through the ceiling for me was building the relationships and the rapport and the trust with the people. A lot of them I had worked with. When we got bought, I inherited a group of new people. So I intentionally tried to spend quite a bit of time getting to know those folks and understanding what made them tick and how they were motivated. So that was quite an experience doing that, and then working for a publicly traded company. That was a whole another level that I had not experienced before, and understanding those intricacies and obligations and expectations of shareholders and all that. So, but I worked really hard, put it in the work, put in the hours. I grinded it out, tried to get the trust and respect of the team.
So you went from a private company to a public company traded on an exchange, and that transition. So you basically went from reporting to upper management to reporting to a board and upper management, or how'd that work?
Yeah, I went from reporting to the owners of a small company to reporting to more of a regional leader of one of who managed multiple offices for this company. So I didn't report to the board of the company. They had 150 offices, so it was a massive healthcare staffing company.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, so you were talking about how much you learned at age 25 to run all these people. Tell me, break down when you're staffing, obviously you're staffing for the skill of that job, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that skill, what do you see top three things, and what makes a good employee a good employee? Let me ask you that.
Well, there's a lot of things. First of all, they have to operate with high integrity. They have to be willing to do the right thing, and if they're not, they're typically not a fit to work at our company or with me. That's a big deal. They have to be willing to put in the work. Having that sense of urgency, willing to put in the effort to be successful. Again, if you're not putting in the effort, you're not going to.
Right.
In our business, it just doesn't work. So you got the work ethic, and then that's the third. You want three, or you want 12?
I loved how you started that out, though. Is you start out with integrity and high integrity, and a lot of times you don't find that out for 90 days. But
yeah,
but I'm sure you got a process of how you interview and what you look for and what tells. And integrity, and obviously effort and work is huge.
Yeah, and you have to be able to overcome obstacles. We're in the people business. I tell everybody we're in the most unpredictable product in the world, and that's people.
Yeah.
And you have to, people are going to let you down. You're going to have a lot of success, but you're going to have failures too. And how do you overcome those things?
Dave, that's a great point he just brought up. And I find this, and I think everybody's affected by this, is the failure. How does that employee handle failure, and do they get back up? Because I always tell everybody in my company, and I said, you realize if you bat 300, you can be an all-star in baseball. Right. So that means you're striking out 7 times.
Yeah.
And it's such a profound that you said that, in the fact that how are you going to crawl under the table and or you're going to stick your head up and keep going and learn from that and keep going and going. And I find that, and I think we all do. We all fail, and we fail at different levels. And the higher you get, the harder you fall. Absolutely. And how are you going to get back up? And that gets to that 1%, breaking through that top ceiling. And that takes, so as you're hiring these and you're looking for these qualities, is there usually a period of time before is it a 30-day, do you give them a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day overview, or you hear the fire quick, what is it, take your time to hire and quick to fire? Kind of tell me how that works with you.
Kind of in my business now, we are extremely generous with giving people time if we see effort, and we can tell pretty quick, usually within 90 days, whether somebody's gonna do well in our business. But we typically give people every opportunity to succeed because it does take time. You're not going to be successful in our industry in 30 days or 60 days or even 90 days. I mean, it often can take a year or two to really build up your business and build up your candidate pipeline if you're in recruiting, and then get your relationships solidified with your accounts. So it does take time, but we can tell pretty quickly if somebody's been willing to put in the effort and the work and is doing the right things. And we'll give
attitude comes out.
Yeah. I mean, I tell everybody often, you control what you can control, and that's your effort and your attitude. And certainly very important things at our company.
Yeah.
I've had a couple clients in the staffing industry, and you said it right, sense of urgency. And I think you look at a lot of jobs out there, they require that sense of urgency. And how do you find somebody with sense of urgency? How do you pull that out of somebody to see if they have that sense of urgency trait?
Really, it's really hard. We try to find out what motivates them. Often in a sales world, it's money. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't mean they can't do it if it's not money, but they have to have a motivating factor, and it could be, I'm motivated by taking care of my family. I'm motivated because I want to go on this trip. I'm motivated by whatever it is, the car I want to drive, or I'm motivated because I like helping people, and our purpose at our company is making lives better, and we get the opportunity to help people better their career situation, which then puts money in their pockets, which then allows them to feed their families, send their kids to school, do whatever it is they want to do with their lives. And it's a big responsibility, and our team takes that really seriously. And then we're helping our clients find the talent they need to take their companies forward, and that is again a huge responsibility. We want to put people in those seats for our clients. They're going to elevate their business. If not, they're not going to hire us. So that's kind of a big deal for us.
So Dave, I mean, we talk about this all the time, money, and it's not always in a business. It's not about the gadget you have. It's about the people.
Correct.
Can't scale without people, and the people is the most important part of your business.
Correct.
I don't care what anybody says. But so when you hire these people, and you're matching them with companies, it's tough to find talent. So, we've had COVID, and now I think we're trying to get back to what we were, but tell us a little bit about what it's like to find talent, how the talent pool was before COVID and how it is afterwards. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
COVID, what's that?
Yeah, I don't know. It should.
It's been an interesting market. Before COVID, things were steady. Companies were continuing to hire and add and try to grow, and all that was good. COVID hit in March of 2020, and our clients put pretty much everything on hold. I think we had about 50% of our open orders canceled.
Wow.
And they were very reluctant to hire the rest. And then you saw companies doing layoffs. And at the end of 2020, really in the fourth quarter, I think a lot of companies realized the demands for goods and services are going through the roof. How do we figure this out? We just laid off people, or we didn't hire like we should have. So they really went hog wild in hiring at a fast clip to try to get people back. The demand for talent was huge. Salaries were increasing at quite a large percentage, and people were moving because they now were thinking, I can chase dollars here a little bit. And so the quit rate was high, and that lasted for a few years, where companies were just, continuing to add to staff. And then kind of middle of 23 hit, and things started to slow down. I think companies were really assessing, what did I just do? Did I do the right things? Did I hire the right people? Did I hire them in the right seats? And they've since taken just a little bit more of a strategic approach and a pause on it. You've seen inflation go up. You've seen interest rates increase. You've seen tariffs, and some companies have embraced them, and it's done well based on the product. Some companies have put a pause because they're just uncertain and not sure what to do. So hiring has kind of gone back to the scale of maybe what it was in 2019, which is still good. It's just, but the quit rate has dropped. People aren't moving as fast as they were. Salaries have leveled. You saw the whole work from home to hybrid to now companies are bringing people back in the office more because they realized, in my opinion, the culture of their organization has shifted drastically.
Absolutely.
From 2019 to now, and I attribute a lot of that to just people aren't together as much. And so some do really well in that environment. Some struggled in the hybrid or remote environment because it wasn't, for me, it wouldn't be the right thing for me. Personally, I like to be around people and all that. So
that's interesting you say that, David. And you're following up on that. I see, Monte, because you deal with several businesses around the United States. Could you guys elaborate a little bit about? It's a whole different. I don't know what word, atmosphere or different mode of employee today than it was before COVID. So I think, and this is just me from 10,000 feet, you guys can fill this in, but I find people are more independent, more opinionated, and on one side they're taking more control of what they do instead of follow. So, which affects businesses, some in a positive way and some in a negative way. What do you see different from an employee today and attitude of today than it was before COVID?
I think working from home, people got used to the flexibility. And I think that changed the mindset of a lot of folks on how they wanted to do their job.
The mindset.
And flexibility was huge and is huge for people. Even that hybrid model, people still want that flexibility. They still want to have that, and it's not that they can go home and screw off and do laundry and whatever, which may get done, but it's still, you got to do your job. And I think people found that they could do their job faster and more efficiently as well. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, flexibility is a big word. So I tell our people all the time, because we have a lot of our staff's in 5 days a week. And that flexibility is as much there for them as it is anybody that works in a hybrid schedule. We've really embraced that, and I think everybody's realized how important that's been to their lives. Whether it's a group they meet with in the mornings, and here and there they need to come in late one day or 2 days, or if it's dropping off children to school in the mornings, or they need to pick them up in the afternoons, or whatever the reason may be. That flexibility piece has been here to stay. I think people for a while, maybe some feel like they get more done at home. I'm not sure that's the case for all.
Jamie Dimon will argue against that.
Yeah,
they need to be at the office. I think Elon Musk is the same way.
Yeah,
they're more productive when they're at the office. Their attention's on the work. It's not scattered all over.
Yeah.
Now,
no two people are alike, right?
They're not.
Depends on.
And I think probably the majority need to be there, but I think there's another group of them that are just as effective and sometimes more effective being on their own or in that situation.
That's absolutely true. Yep.
And I would have to say myself, I need to be in the office.
I'm with you.
So that's me.
Yeah. I think you have more focus, and that people interaction is huge. you can talk to people over Zoom, you can talk to people over Teams, but it's not the same as building a relationship, walking down the hall and having a good conversation and getting to know folks better. And I think that's been a big change.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not just how much work you get done; it's the level of engagement you keep.
Right.
And some people may get more done at home. Some people may get more done in the office, or they may get less done in the office. But their engagement in their work, or their company, or the people around them are higher because they're surrounded by others.
Yeah. So right now, what businesses and what type of businesses are doing most of the hiring?
Well, a lot of businesses are still hiring. I mean, you look at the data center world, and any company that touches a data center seems to be growing. Whether that's a mechanical, electrical contractor, you see all the work these electricians are doing in it. You got a lot of concrete in these buildings, or steel in these buildings. There's just a lot of organizations, the technology that goes into them, really around the country, here in Iowa too. So those businesses seem to be doing quite well. Overall, I think the insurance market, which we're a big insurance center here, is doing well. Everybody needs it. That market's been pretty stable. Then on the reverse, the ag economy's been struggling a little bit. So you've seen some of the ag companies pull back on some of their hiring. They're still being strategic and making sure they have the right staff, but we've seen some changes there.
Interesting.
I want to come back and talk about you a little bit and
Sure.
Talk about some of your ways that you've broken through ceilings.
Okay.
And we call our audience the achiever because they're always striving for the next level. And I really want you to share some stories of how you have grown through some time. So I'd love to hear about a risk that you've taken, that you had to grow and change and become a different person to grow through that risk.
Okay. Yeah. So I think started what I already told you. Taking on a leadership role at 25, I didn't realize how big of a risk that was, but that was. And then quitting that job, and I was in leadership, and then deciding to move to Iowa. And I didn't start at Palmer Group right away. I actually thought about starting my own company. Realized at 27 and no money and a 2-month-old child probably wasn't the best idea for me. And so, I got into a new desk at Palmer Group, started a new division, and grew that and did very well. And then I got asked by the founder of our company to give it up, where I was where I was making my money, and start over and try to take which at that time, and it was 2007, was our floundering IT business. It was just, there was more to be done there. It was just struggling. So I hesitated, and he said, just trust me. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And I talked to my wife about it. She's like, well, what do you got to do this? You trust Austin, do it. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So I did. I gave up everything I had built for 3 or 4 years and started over. And I luckily had really good people that knew it, and we made a great team, and I think we quadrupled in 1 year, and that was super fun. I mean, it was just a great time, but I was pretty anxious because I didn't know the IT space that well, but we made a go of it, and again, I was surrounded by incredible people that helped me through that, and then in 2011, I was the youngest and the newest director, we called him at the time, in the company, and I got asked to give up all that and then run day to day, and then start managing again people that were older than I was, and to run the business day to day. And that was, to me, a great opportunity, but also there was a risk there on my good enough, am I smart enough, or people kind of like me, right? So so those are just a few things.
So are they going to like me? Am I good enough?
Yeah.
How did you break through those things? Because we all do it. Whether we're introducing a new product, we're going into a new market. We all have self-doubt.
That's a human trait.
It's a human trait to have self-doubt. So how did you break through that when those new challenges came up? When you left something that you were great at and you're comfortable to something starting all over?
So first of all, I had a really good mentor and the founder of the company. So surrounding yourself with people that maybe believe in you more than you believe in yourself was a huge deal for me. Somebody to rely on and lean on. just honestly paid dividends for me, and still does. I mean, I still rely heavily on the founder of our company. So that was great. And then I've always been an intrinsically motivated person, and I love to win. Very competitive, doing it the right way. And I just said, I'm going to do this. I don't quit. I'm not a quitter. I'm a very loyal person. Hence, I've been here for my company for almost 22 years. But I just pushed through it. But I relied on others to help me through that. So,
that trait of pushing through, that's a hard trait to continue to have. You got to have the drive. You got to have
Correct.
the motivation. And you talked about your family earlier when we were speaking. And I know that's a driver for you.
Absolutely.
As well. And so being a part of that, what does keep you motivated? How do you stay motivated to keep doing the best that you can?
Yeah, my wife, of course, is my kids and my wife. Super motivated to make sure they're taken care of. And I had a great upbringing with my parents, and I'm one of 5 kids, and I've always been driven, to succeed and do well. And then what also motivates me is any influence I can have on others and to help them, and watching them succeed is like the absolute best part of my job is just, whether it's one conversation or whether it's a continual series of conversations of working with people at our company and watching them grow and have success and build a nice book of business and watching them have families, buy houses, buy cars because of what success. They work for us. I mean, it's just awesome. I love it. I absolutely love that part of it.
I want to reinforce that to our audience. The achiever is helping others succeed is the most rewarding thing. And if you're leading a company, leading a division, leading a team, you've got to think about, how am I helping them succeed? It's not about us anymore. When you get in that management role, it's not about us.
It's not about us leadership anymore.
It's not us leadership. It's helping other people succeed. And it is a great feeling.
Oh, it's so good. Yep.
Yeah, and Brandon Dawson's big about that. And he's, the PPF, professional, and financial goals. It's really important. And what you said is what drives that employee? What drives them? And then if you can help them reach their personal goals through their business, you said it in a great way. The magic happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the magic.
You get more out of your team when they have a passion for it, or they have a driver of what motivates them. And if they're told what to do all the time, they don't have that drive because they don't feel that they have the empowerment or the desire because somebody else is telling them what to do.
Yep.
So giving them that empowerment feeling,
that leadership,
so they can self-lead themselves.
Yeah. And knowing their leader believes in them. I mean, that is a big deal.
It is. Now, I want to ask you 2 quick questions here. Number 1, what were you in the lineup in the 5? 1, 2, 3.
I'm number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
All 5 of us were born within 7 years of each other, so there's not a whole lot of difference.
I grew up in a Catholic family too, so
I
was 2 out of 5. Then we had another one that became 6. But
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. And now, the big thing now is AI. So I think with employees, it's what everything, the talents and stuff is changing because of AI. And it's going to be, we're seeing it now. I think Monte and I had a gentleman on here from a company talking about AI 2 years ago, and we're saying we're going to be a whole different world within 3 years, and we're on that path, and it is going to be different. I think as a small business owner myself, I think it's a great thing. I think you need to embrace it and run with it. And that's my opinion. Dave, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, they say the only people that are going to be left behind are those that don't embrace it. And so we're doing it cautiously, we're adding some new technologies and some new systems in our company to make us faster and more efficient, to improve our processes. And so we're doing that. Some companies are trying to get it to completely replace the human element, whether that be on the phone or in some of their interactions. And I think we have to be cautious with that because as humans, we're meant to be around and talk to other humans. So I think that's a big deal. But we feel like we have to embrace it, and we're working towards that.
Cool. Yeah.
We're in a breakfast group together, and last time you spoke to the group, you did talk about AI and some of the things that are challenging you and your thinking, and you are in a people business. And so, but you've got to understand where the AI can help the people in the business become more efficient. And so give us a small insight of what kind of tools that you're using to help your team with AI, because it's not just about AI taking over somebody's job. It's about helping people become more efficient in their job.
So yeah, we use a applicant tracking system that we've been in business for 28 years. So it has all of our history in it, and there's a lot of data in there. And so we have some of those tools now. They're not great. We're going to be improving that technology. So when we get a new order from a client and they need whatever it is, X, Y, and Z, our new system that we're actually implementing here in a couple of weeks is going to be a lot faster and more efficient in matching all those hundreds of thousands of people to that job. And so now, if we rely fully on the system, I think we're going to miss talent. And so the human aspect of, let's say it's, the tool says it's, somebody's 60% match versus a 99% match. I think we're still going to go down a little bit, and we need to dig deeper to see, do those skills that person has cross-reference to that job. And we think we're doing a disservice if we don't look at that with the human eye a little bit more. But I think that technology is going to help us with our speed of delivery and make us a better partner to our clients, and really to help candidates match the jobs a little bit better as well.
I want to reinforce that to our audience, the achiever, because I think this is important, that you've got to embrace AI, but you've got to find how it's going to help your people become more efficient and help the customer become more efficient, get in front of them faster and more effectively. So I think that's a great thing to be evaluating. And you said cautiously.
Correct.
Because you got to understand, how does it affect the human and how does it affect the customer?
Yep.
And what that means to every aspect of the flow of the business. So that's good. I want to come back. You talked about working a lot. That's one of the ways that you've made some of these jobs that you've had work well. And as CEO, you work a lot as well. How do you balance your personal life? You got 3 kids. How do you keep things structured, or how do you keep things connected so that you don't miss out on your kids' activities?
Yeah, it's an important question. Not easy. It's absolutely never been easy. But I have taken the initiative early on in my, I grew up, my dad coached my teams. It was super awesome. And I wanted to do that with my children. So when they were young, once they got really competitive, I'm kind of out. I wanted somebody that actually knew what they were doing to coach their teams. But when they were young, I signed up. Or my wife signed me up, because depending on what happened, but to be there. And so I had practice, whatever it was, 2, 3, 4 times a week with one of my kids. So it was on the schedule. I had to do it. And so I'm really big about calendaring things. My wife and I, invite each other back and forth on items. So making sure you're involved was a big thing. So we've always had that flexibility at Palmer Group to. If I had to go to an event, I would just do it. And then sometimes I got to plug in late at night after the kids were in bed when they were young. Now that they're all kind of adults at this point, things have changed. My wife and I just started here recently. Schedules continue to get busy, even though our kids are getting older. We instituted a weekly meeting, and that's 60 to 90 minutes. And we look at everything from how are our kids doing? We got 2 in college, a senior and a sophomore. So we try to find time during that to call them, see how they're doing, what support do they need from us, just what's going on in their lives. And then we ask that for each other, what's going on in our lives, how can we better support each other? And then we look at our calendars, what's going on, what needs to happen, or maybe what do we not need to go do, or what do I not need to go do in that week, so I can be a little bit more present at home.
So you do this once a week?
We do this once a week, yeah.
Just like on a Monday, Tuesday? Or
We've been doing it on a Monday night.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't hit every week, but we're really trying to be intentional by it. My wife was a little skeptical at first, but I think she's starting to embrace it.
So did you read Dan Martell's book?
I have not.
Buying Back, he does that with his family.
Okay.
But might be a great book you ought to read.
Yeah.
Have you read that book?
I have not, no.
Buying Back Your Time. Oh, it's a great book. Dan Martell's probably 46 years old.
Okay.
is a wonderful guy, great story. He's a Canadian, but get a chance to grab that book. I should have brought it with me. I guess I have it in my office.
I think that's fantastic. One of my favorite words is intentional, because you've got to be focused, especially when you want to balance your life. And I love that you're having that weekly meeting with your spouse. I think that's a powerful thing, because you're running a business.
It is powerful. And we end with prayer, which has been awesome for us.
That's
good.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
What church you go to in Des Moines?
We're over at St. Francis.
Okay, yep. I stop at St. Boniface, but I stop at St. Francis once in a while. I want to ask a quick question. Now, dealing with people, we all know how it is. So I know you'd have a ton of stories. I know things got to be confidential, but I'd like to hear one of your success stories that you connected with a company, and I'd like to hear one of your failures that have happened.
One of my success stories. So I think back to back in my engineering days. I was working with a very prominent Iowa-based company that had a need for a really high-level leadership, manufacturing leadership role, and I happened just to be calling this individual based on a reference that I got for another job I was working on, and just really got to develop a rapport with him. And I got thinking, well, I think he's a fit for that job I'm working on. And so you just ask the question, how are you? How are you doing? Are you satisfied in your role? And it quickly became, I'm not. I'm looking. I'm ready to move on. And so, so that intentional call of checking a simple reference on somebody else led to a company hiring a really, really strong person that's maybe still be there, but spent a career. This is probably 15 or more years ago, and made a huge impact on this company and their growth over the years. So that was fun.
So that is what
yeah.
Okay.
What I take away from that is always look for the opportunity, because you never know where it's going to come from.
Yep.
You never know when that next connection is going to happen. So you do have to be intentional.
Correct.
So I love that example.
And then something that didn't go well.
I'm sure there's some comical stories about hooking the wrong people at the wrong.
Yeah, I think of things I could share. I was working on another search for, and this is early on in my career, and I learned a lot of lessons. That I was working on another big job, and I just assumed the client knew I was working on it. And it wasn't a quick fill. It was going to be a long search, and so I didn't call the company for 3 weeks. They didn't call me either, right? But they called the owner of the company and said, "You guys working on this or what?" And so it got me to realize that that proactive follow-up, setting the expectation, setting the table with your client was a big deal. So I got pulled into the office and was held accountable, which I absolutely appreciated. Because I would have never known or learned that lesson of that constant and consistent communication and that open dialogue of what I found, what I haven't found, the struggles I've had would have made all the difference in the world to that person on the other line. They just filled in the unknowns with negatives, because that's what we do as human beings, right? And so if I would have just taken the time and the effort to intentionally call and update them on a regular basis of the work I had done, it would have just solved everything.
Yeah, and as the higher you get leadership, your time is taken. So I think people following up on me, and Monica probably vouch for that too, is you're busy. And I appreciate somebody calling diligently. If I got something going on, I got a lot of things that say, hey, and following up, because leadership and everybody's taking their time. Sometimes you look over, overlook it, and then all of a sudden, hey, what happened here? But the person that's always there that's pushing it and keeps it in front of you, you make it happen. But getting back to I was
going to say that one of the biggest things I've learned in my career is when you screw up, just tell them you're sorry.
Right.
If you have any rapport with them at all, they should understand your intentions aren't to leave the void or to do something wrong. So own it. You got to own your mistakes when you screw up. It's really not that hard to say.
It is. Life's a lot easier. A lot easier once you realize that most things in your life is decisions you made, and you got to own up to it. But this is a really important question that I'm going to ask you here is, you've been around high A-level people, and then you got your B and C people. So when you're hiring for obviously high level, you need A people. You need A people no matter what you're going to scale. We know that, right? Tell me, so you find an A person. An A person is not going to work for a lousy business guy. So could you tell me, when you got that A person, you know you got that A person, I know you probably ran across it, man, this guy's pretty good. Will he fit into there because is the leadership good enough to keep that person? Mm-hmm. What type of things do you look at I would call it A-rated company that you think deserves A-rated people? And what type of qualities does that person have to have?
What kind of qualities does a leader have to have? Or
the business. And I know mine.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to fill this in, and you tell me if I'm missing anything. But you often know about a company by their reputation and brand. I mean, employees that leave organizations disgruntled, which are going to happen regardless of how good your company is. But you kind of build up that reputation over time in a good way or in a not a good way, and so that can spread across the board. So if an A player is either working at or wants to consider going into a business, they're going to know quickly whether that's the right fit for them or not, or whether they should stay there or not, based on the brand, based on the leader's reputation in the business world and in the community. Being seen, being heard, and intentionally helping people across the community is a big deal. Is the company charitable? Is the leader willing to volunteer their time to help the good of the community? You can look online and the Google reviews and all that. Some of that's powerful. Some of it's not. But is that your question?
You're answering the question. I mean, you're dealing with A people and want to connect them with A people because you don't want to deal with anybody else if possible. And I know, Monte, you deal with this too. And what do you find for best leadership to attract those A players?
Well, I think it comes back to culture. When you want to find the right people that are going to match your culture. So I would imagine when you're looking for a new contract or new customer of the business that's going to be looking for people, you want to understand their culture so you can match people with it. And so I think culture, how people behave, and to me, culture isn't just having a plaque on the wall on what your core values are. It's how you treat people, how you interact, how you communicate. That creates the culture of your organization. And you got to find the right person that fits the culture. And are they willing to grow to be in your culture? I think that's a powerful thing. Are they willing to grow?
Yeah. An A player at one company may be an A player within that culture, but they may not be an A player at another company based on the environment.
Right.
Doesn't mean the culture's bad or doesn't mean the player's bad. It just doesn't match.
It doesn't match. That's a good point. I think, energy, the law of attraction. I believe you gotta have that energy. And we all, as business owners and people, as leaders, you do get wore out. So your energy goes down. And I think you need to be aware of that. And you got to pick it up. I mean, everything you do, you got to pick that energy up. And nobody's perfect, but energy is really, really important. Yeah. And all A players have it. They pick up that energy, and that's what you feel it with them.
Absolutely.
I love this conversation. What's a ceiling that you're trying to break through right now?
It's been a stressful couple of years in the employment world, just with a lot of change and dynamics have just been unique. So, we're continually trying to find new ways to grow and do new things. So, we're one of those things is we're following our customers around the country, and so doing that is not simple, right? You have to open businesses in new state, or ability to do business in new states, and making sure building up new candidate pipelines in different markets, and just having those discussions. But it's been really fun. So. Just finding ways to scale, continue to scale and grow our business is one of those ceilings. I've taken on a lot over the years of the responsibility, and I'm working hard to delegate better so I can do some of that and focus more on the business versus working in it as much. So continuing to develop and some people that have the ability to take on more. Actually really fun and rewarding, and it's going to be good for our business in the long term.
What do you do to develop your people?
I spend a lot of time with them. A lot of one-on-one time, a lot of coaching, individual coaching. I just think it's more of a catching the moment, praising, and catching the moment when it's not good, and having those discussions.
Yeah. I think this has been a great podcast. I like something that you said earlier in closing it here is, and I think we've heard this over and over again, Monte, talking to people, is you said a lot of your success and kept you kind of your concentration going true north is having a good mentor. And I think that good mentor is so important, and also the people you hang out with. But I don't know any great leader that didn't have a mentor. Mm-hmm. They all do. And if there's anybody out there, I'd recommend find that person because they're out there.
Absolutely.
Anyway, in closing, I just wanted to say that. And
yeah. No, that's great. One of the last questions we always like to ask is, what do you want to be known for? What when you've left this earth, what do you want to be known for by the people that you leave here?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I want to be known as a man of God, right? I think that's super important. Having high integrity, high morals, strong character, always willing to do the right thing is important. I want to be known to have made an impact on others, whether that's an individual or through a cause that my wife and I are passionate about. How can we help other people that need that? So those are a few things. It's just, and then I want to be known for somebody that help develop and grow people. And I think in a leadership role, it's needed and extremely important to me.
I want to reinforce that. You got to help others be successful, and you that came out a couple different times during our conversation. And I think that's just so powerful. That's your responsibility as a leader. That's your responsibility as a manager, as CEO. No matter what you are, you've got to make sure that you're developing other people so they can be the best that they can be. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. It's been a great conversation, and thanks for watching and listening to our show today. And make sure you like us and continue to keep watching and keep breaking through your ceilings. Thanks for watching. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. It was awesome.
Yes.